Ashley, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working with your company for the last couple of years as partners. But, every single time I look up the company and the history of the company, really, your name pops up, of course, as the owner. And then as soon as I dig into your history and the work that you've done, it has been so amazing to see everything you've done. And the hardest time I had planning this interview was we talk about you the whole time because that is like the really great story, but I will focus mostly on the company. But before we do that, first, thank you so much
Of
for
course.
having me, for hosting me in this beautiful office
Oh,
and
thanks.
your space and taking the time. What was your transition into getting into Western Spirit? How did you end up running the company and taking it
Yeah.
over?
I took a little break and traveled around and was kind of free floating in the universe for a minute. And I called my mom from South America and she said, this guy named Mike Sinyard is looking for you. And I talked with them about working at Specialized. And at the same time, I had come on a Western Spirit trip and met the founder. And I just saw this opportunity to grow it, and he was ready to, for him, a day in the office was a bad day. And so, but I was really interested in the business aspect of it. So I was able to buy it. And that was in 97. And after that, I met my husband, Mark, and we spent a while traveling to national parks and national forests all over the West, designing new trips. Because every year people would come on a trip with Western Spirit and they'd want to come on another trip the next year to a different place.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time looking for new places. And, we offered trips in the whole range from family, beginner, little kids to 5 days above 10,000 feet on the Colorado Trail, right?
Right.
So we were constantly needing to add trips, but you have to keep them consistent. Like you can't suddenly haul everyone over some giant pass if they weren't expecting that. And so working with the landscape to put together consistent routes has been always a big part of the job. And we just have continued to do that and have been able to grow really consistently through all kinds of challenges. The most recent one being when they fired all the park rangers last spring, right about this time of year, because there was so much extra money in the public land system and it was a good place to save money.
Thanks,
Not.
Doge.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Like I thought you guys were good at math, just saying. Like it's 1%
You're right.
of the federal budget that we're going after.
Yeah.
And some of the most liked federal employees in the system, let's fire them. Okay. Anyway, put out the message. We got all kinds of I was serving on the Chamber of Commerce board at the time. We got mean letters from Canadians. We got mean emails here. Our Canadians canceled. But there was also this feeling like, well, if we're not funding the parks this year, probably not a good time to visit.
Right.
So there was a real noticeable
decline in business.
Yeah. So that was scary. And luckily, our return guests who, booked and it was fine. But people want to go outside. And the fun thing about a Western Spirit trip is it takes away all the sort of annoying, irritating parts of planning.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to fight with your friends over where we're going to stop for lunch. You don't have to worry if the stove is going to work. You don't have to do all that hard packing because we brought everything. You just need to bring a few layers of clothing and your stuff and yourself, right? And the people arrive to go on a trip and they're a little nervous or not sure. And, they're worried about their gear and we're helping them make sure they have everything. And rain pants is the key to invincibility. Everyone should have rain pants and bring them with you everywhere. Just trust me on that.
Yeah.
You'll be really glad. And they're light, packed all the time.
Exactly.
So, and then when they come back, they're kind of glowing and it's not just the dirt or the sunburn, right? Like they really did get that break and you can see it in their demeanor and the way, and it's just such a great way to take a moment where can be in the moment. You're meant to be in the moment. You're not supposed to be planning or thinking about next week or worrying about your email or even deciding where we're going to have lunch. Like you're supposed to be enjoying what you're seeing, enjoying the riding, meeting some new people or hanging out with your friends, whichever, if you pulled together a group or came on your own or whatever. And it's hard to beat.
It's beautiful. And the food.
Well, then there's the food. Yeah.
It's so good. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you hit on a lot of things there is going from having a busy planning life, then you get into planning a trip and that starts to feel so stressful because there's so many things to think about and not having to worry about that really does allow you to just enjoy and relax. Like I remember when we took our trip, we were able to just sit and meditate and do yoga and work on our bikes and tinker and hang out with people and not have to think about all those little things that go into trip planning. So it's beyond just the mountain biking. When it comes to the mountain biking, what are some of your favorite trips? What are you excited for in 2026? New trips, new places?
Yeah, I know. My favorite trip is always the trip I'm going on next. Every place that we go has some special things about it.
Right.
When I talk to people about, like, I really love helping people pick trips. I don't do that as much anymore, but it's still really fun. We want to find the right trip for you in this given moment. So, and this is a rule for the whole travel industry that we're really fighting, because we're fighting Instagram point.
Yeah.
The favorite, the
top 10.
Yeah. What do you have to see when you come to Moab? Delicate Arch. I've got a 3-year-old. Drag your 3-year-old to Delicate Arch, no matter how much they scream. No, like, you've got a 3-year-old, go to Sand Dune Arch. Take pictures. You'll love it. Come back when they're a little older, then hike to Delicate Arch. So it's all about that matching. So we try to start with, okay, when can you go? Give us a date. Don't worry about the place yet. Tell us your date, because people will sometimes get a place in their head. Like, I want to go to Telluride in May. It's like, yeah, no, it's going to be muddy. And no, we don't go to Telluride in May. So start with the date. And then it's about, who are your traveling companions? Are you doing this on your own because you have a week and you can go and you've been riding a fair amount and you want to go do a little bit of a challenging thing? We got that. Are you bringing your family? Are you bringing a friend who maybe isn't as experienced as you? Which is a great thing to do that, because you don't have to worry about them. The guides will worry about them. And at the end of the week, they're a mountain biker.
Right.
Now you have a new mountain biking friend.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, it's really fun. And we've also introduced these new adventure trips that are, if you don't want to ride your bike for 5 days in a row, but you want to go see the San Juan Mountains or the Sawtooths, or experience a place like Grand Teton or Yellowstone. And and those have been really fun to design, because thinking about fishing and boating, and we're working with some partners to be able to provide different activities and to go do some hikes that really I've always wanted to do. Because when you're riding from A to B, you don't always have time to go check out the alpine lake.
Right.
So I'm excited about the adventure trips, and it's really, you want to match the people to the trip. And it's not that hard. People say, well, do people overestimate their ability? No. And in general, they kind of underestimate. But we have all day to do the ride.
Yeah.
So, and what we always do is, if you tell us, if we say, if you had a Saturday and you could go riding at home, what would you do? And you listen to them for about 3 minutes, and you know exactly what trip they need, what'll work for them. So we spend a lot of time just making sure that we know what you want, or we take the time to do that. And then the rest is going to be fun.
Amazing. Yeah. I love how many options you have. You have kids, families, e-bike routes now. Right. So you have the ability levels can be really managed. And now the adventure options, everything from canyoneering to rafting. So we really have something for everyone.
And the thing about the e-bikes, it's really important too, is e-bikes give you a little more power. They don't give you any more skill. So we have had to really clarify that, because people will say, well, I want to come and I'm going to bring my friend. He doesn't ride at all, and he can just get an e-bike. And we're like, yeah, no, that won't work. Yeah. Then he's going to be pushing a really heavy bike.
To be even more miserable.
You still have to have the skills to keep both wheels in contact with the earth. But the e-bikes definitely have made it easier to do diverse groups and to access a little bit more. It's a fun thing. It was quite the challenge to get them charged up. We had to
bring a generator.
We can't use generators in the park. Okay. So there was a few White Rim trips where suddenly someone was driving out to the White Rim with batteries. And I was like, ooh, how did that happen? Yeah. It wasn't good. But now we've got it dialed. So it's good.
It takes a lot of planning, a lot of tweaking and adjustments.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed by what you're able to do with not just one business, but multiple business and nonprofit and all the efforts you're involved in. What's the secret?
Team, definitely. I mean, I work really hard to find people that want to do this, that want to help, and that it's the right time in their life. Like the guides, if it's the right time in your life to be a guide, it is so fun. And when it's not the right time, it's terrible. Because if you want a dog or a houseplant or a closet,
there's something pulling you.
Yeah. If it's time for you to have, be settled down, it's not the right time. But we get these great people that want to be guides, and I love seeing how they become leaders, and they just, within a few trips, they're really excited to share the place, and they've learned the place, and then we work really hard to make it fit their lives. Like, we start by asking them, when is your cousin's wedding? Like, when do you need
Back
to
into the important things.
Yeah. When do you need time off? And then we build their schedule around the time that they tell
Cool.
us, instead of the other way around. And that has really helped to make it possible for people to guide.
Part of your secret into the 8-year average retention span is
Something
what I read.
like that.
Something
5 or
yeah.
we've got a few 8 years, but in your 20s and early 30s, it is really fun.
Yeah.
And for some people can do it longer. It just depends, but it goes back to matching the need to the to the person,
for all people involved.
Yeah, for everyone.
Amazing.
Yeah, but it's really, like, you have to really invest in. I feel like when you hire someone, you have to spend 110% for about a month, making sure they're really good, they really understand, they've got what they need. You have to really overdo it for a while, and when you do that, you set the tone for them to be able to do the job for a long time, and to be able to raise their hand when there's a problem. That's a really big part of it, because you definitely have to feel really confident about delegating. Doesn't mean that something is not going to go a little sideways, but there are also times when they're going to make a better decision than I would have made. So you just have to kind of trust, but do the work first. And we've been really lucky that way, and we work really hard to make sure everyone's good and they like what they're doing, and they're doing the thing that they're the best at. So
amazing.
There's a little work there, but once you do it, it feels really good.
What are some of the trails that you feel are underappreciated, that when people, you guide trips so many different places. You mentioned high alpine, the desert, all the way to Maah and South Dakota. Are there places that come to mind that people don't fully, they're chasing the top 10 possibly, but if you encourage someone that was completely, hey, surprise me, what would be some of the places that you might encourage someone to go explore?
Both North Dakota and South Dakota are really cool. And South Dakota has swimming at every camp and beautiful trails and forests. And we're working with them to improve some trails and do more maintenance. It's budding community that's really, I think, has a lot of potential. And then the Maah is really incredible, because the light up there, it's national grasslands. And the way it works is you're on top riding through this grassy area, and then you drop into these little badland canyons. It's super fun. So that's really fun. This Skyline Trail in the Manti La Salle Forest in central Utah that nobody has ever heard of.
Yeah.
We're like their only special use permit. Yeah. Okay. That is a beautiful trip. It's double track. But it's good riding. It's something that Mark Taylor on the team was put together, and we've already sold several, because it's people who've done that type of trip with us before are totally trust that if we're saying this is where we go next,
it's going to be good.
Yeah. So
you're like the friends you can trust.
Yeah, totally.
That are out there scouting all the time and have the trip planning down. And
if you've gone on a trip with us, we know what you like, and we keep track of that. Right. So the guides at the end of the trip will recommend trips to the person, and then they'll document that so we know what they recommended. And that way, if you call and say, my guide said I could go in the hot springs, but I'd rather go in May, and that one's not till June, what have you got? We can
match up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Amazing. So there are, we're looking at new places all the time. I mean, McDowell Mountain Park is super fun little park in the preserve. Yeah. And that's early February. And sometimes people are kind of like, well, I haven't been riding. I used to do this all the time. Go on a trip. Now you're riding.
You get in shape. Oh, how you start.
You're fine.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to go on the hardest trip in the world, but you go do a trip in the early spring, and then you're good to go. So that one's really fun. We just did a bunch of those, and the Black Canyon Trail down there as well. So yeah, we're always looking at new places and where people are building trail. And we really add value in the backcountry, that where you're able to go from, you don't have to get back to town every night, which really opens up a whole new way to travel.
Keep going.
Yeah. You're able to sleep where you ride to the camp, and then wake up at the trailhead and take off from there, and you don't have all that, which is, you can go to Sun Valley and do some rides,
right?
But you're still going to be answering your email.
Yeah.
bad news.
Yeah. It's
But
nice
if
to
you go on the
disconnect.
trip that we do in Sun Valley, you're not going to answer.
Yeah. Yeah. You truly get to take the trip.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I would love to learn a bit more about your background. You went from business school to go to Wall Street and then transitioning into the bike industry, IMBA, and then, getting into Western Spirit. Do you mind walking me through what got you to leave the corporate world behind and made you realize maybe that it wasn't for you?
Many things. But when I graduated from business school, everyone was going to Wall Street. And it was when you wore your sneakers to work and then changed into high heels when you got there. And I would just pretend I forgot my high heels pretty much every day because it was ridiculous. And I also learned pretty quickly that I was more of an entrepreneur than a trader. Trading bonds, you have to be you're just trying to move with the market. It's not much creativity. Well, I'm sure there are people who have very creative strategies, but so for me, it wasn't the right thing. And so when I got the opportunity between Wall Street and the bike industry, I worked for a couple who started a company that made women's belts, and I learned about manufacturing, which was really interesting right in Massachusetts. And that made it possible for me to go to Merlin and have some confidence that I could figure out a way to get those bikes out the door, because that was the challenge.
Got it.
But at the beginning, we had 3 guys and a pile of titanium tubing. And I was walking around trying to take inventory of the tubing. And they said, "Are you going to Dunkin' Donuts?" Okay. But, and then we grew so quickly. We got up to 40 people, and we had a painted bike with giant baskets. It was painted all black with pink grips. It was only for going to Dunkin' Donuts. And whoever the newest hire was had to go to Dunkin' Donuts. It was crazy. But we had customers waiting 8 months for bikes. It was really because carbon fiber hadn't figured itself out yet. So titanium was really, really popular and made a big difference. And we had Greg LeMond and John Tomac and Lance Armstrong all on Merlin.
Wow.
Yeah. Some of them were painted to be different brands, but they were all red and black.
Interesting. And so this was in the 90s, late 90s. How was it being a CEO of a bike brand as a woman in those times?
Well, I never really had time to worry about it too much. I think, when I got asked to join the IMBA board, Linda Dupriest and I realized right away that she was that specialized at the time, and we realized that we needed some money. We had to get professional, and it was all volunteer, and we had to hire an executive director, and we ran all around the trade show floor and met with all the bike companies, and they said, "How about a case of water bottles?" And we're like, "No, hard, cold cash." So, and I remember running into Zapata Espinoza, Zap, and he said, "I hear you're terrorizing everyone." Linda and I, we're both like 5'3", like, really? Come on. But it was so important to make that jump, and then we were so lucky that Tim Blumenthal was willing to leave kind of the dream job at Bicycling Magazine and be the first executive director.
At IMBA.
Yeah. And really what happened there that's so important is at the beginning, every day we didn't get kicked off someone's hiking trail system was a good day for mountain biking. But we realized we needed to build trails. We needed to add value. We needed to prove the value of our constituency to become part of the public lands program. And we wildly successfully did that, mainly through the trail care cruise that we originally did, that we worked with Subaru on. But the rolling grade dip instead of water bars was a huge thing. And just getting the commitment of all the volunteer mountain bikers and people who just wanted to help build trail in every congressional district in America. Actually, I'm trying to prove that right now. It really moved the needle for mountain biking and for trail use in general. And now what we're seeing is that trails are mainstream economic development. I mean, before, if you were the mayor of wherever, fire, water, sewer, now it's fire, water, sewer, outdoor access.
Amazing.
Are you providing this? And communities that have it are attracting business investment. But there's a continual line from that work at IMBA all the way to that point. It really has made a big difference.
Yeah, actually, I was going to get to this later, but while we're talking about this topic, you've been working with Congress and coal and gas communities to pivot to outdoor recreation over time. You've helped protect the Slickrock Trail here.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind first if you just quickly share the story about what that looked like, what that work looked like in protecting this trail.
Yeah.
And then second, I would love to understand the value of outdoor rec that you're mentioning and outdoor recreation to local communities and local economies?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so I'll start with that because, of course, public land is used for resource extraction and recreation. And the resource extraction program is much more well established, and there are lots of laws that the 1920s Mineral Leasing Act and the 1872 Mining Act, those things are what decide who does what where. They're part of the system. Now, the National Environmental Policy Act from the 60s has been a great friend to recreation because it, protects land in its natural form. But the reality is that resource extraction often still has the upper hand. And in the current administration, they are running auctions to lease parcels every quarter. And the way that works is industry nominates a place. We could say, we think there might be oil and gas here and here and here. And that made a lot of sense when we didn't know where the oil was and when we were trying to encourage it. And we didn't know the bad effects of burning oil. I mean, burning oil was raising everyone's quality of life at an alarming rate. And nobody knew the bad, the side effects, the unintended consequences. So that system allows industry to nominate parcels wherever they think there might be oil. And the thing people don't know that's really important is that there's no requirement to protect trails or campgrounds or any recreation assets. So that's how someone was able to nominate a parcel on the Slickrock Trail twice. But the old system, local rangers, and it required a lot more local input. The public was invited to comment. The comment periods were reasonably long. There was a lot of discussion. And so there was the opportunity for local BLM rangers to defer a parcel and say, yeah, no, that's on a world famous bike trail. We're not going to offer it for lease. Today, all parcels that are nominated by industry must be put in the auction.
Wow. Without local community.
That's right.
Timing and hearing and
they don't want to hear about
to comment.
That's right. Okay. So it's
fast tracked essentially.
Yeah. In places where there really is a lot of oil and gas development, like North Dakota and southern New Mexico, and places where there's it's a basin, the Uinta Basin, those places are much more likely to be economically viable. But right now, 50% of existing leases have not been drilled yet. We could stop leasing today and have plenty of places to drill probably for several years. I mean, we all know we're going to use oil and gas for a little bit longer, no matter what. But do we need to burn the Picasso to heat the house for an hour?
Right.
And I didn't make that up, but
no, it's a good one. It's very,
exactly. Like, is this what we need to do? And so that's the challenge is recreation has become more important as an economic driver, but it doesn't enjoy the same legal protections. And people are completely unaware of that. You assume the campground, the trail, the place you go is good to go. Like, what do you mean? It could go away. It could go away. So that's the opportunity, or what we really need to do now is do a better job protecting recreation assets. So we have a lot of great conservation tools, and those are super important as well, but they don't always, there's this sort of middle ground of recreation. The whole conversation on public lands kind of happens on this continuum of protect everything because we need it to survive. We kind of need the earth to make clean air and water for us, just saying. And then on the other end, there's this, well, God gave it to us and we should just be able to use it.
Whatever.
But most of the solutions and workable programs are in the middle. But we also do, so it's evolving is the main thing. And people need to understand that it's evolving and we should pay attention and make sure that we are helping it to evolve in a way that's going to work, that doesn't tend to really extreme ideologies that aren't so functioning.
And maybe we later regret. So yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, the law of unintended consequences is our enemy. And now that we know that mining is really disruptive, there are techniques and best practices that are being used. And as we look at lithium or uranium or anything, we have the opportunity to do a better job. And we have the obligation to do a better job. And in oil and gas, there is new well pads, much more efficient. They have much less emissions, and they are doing a better job. But when we don't address older places, and that's where the trouble is really coming.
Got it.
Yeah.
What are some key areas right now that you feel are under threat from some of these changes, some of these places, either where you guys lead tours and recreate, or
yeah,
I know I've heard of Grand Staircase and maybe Maah Trail.
Right. Those are the two that have the most direct threat right now. So on the Maah Trail, there have been parcels nominated directly on top of the trail. And we are pointing that out, but it's super likely they're going to sell. And in North Dakota, that economy is still very much dependent on oil and gas. So while there is a growing trail community and more people are interested in it, it's the Theodore Roosevelt National Park. That's what the Maah was built to connect the northern and southern units of that park. And yes, it's an oil field, but we've managed to keep the trail corridor. So now we have this threat to the trail corridor. It's hard to say how that's going to go. Not everything gets drilled immediately, but the lease, that obligation can last for decades. So we have 30 years of worrying about it. Is what is kind of best case. On the Grand Staircase, and this is a little bit complicated, but really not that hard. So every piece of public land has a plan associated with it. And that plan follows the NEPA laws and follows the the Federal Land Management Policy Act, and incorporates hundreds of people's input. So when you work on a land use plan, it is hard, because you have to think about everything and you try to think 10, 20 years into the future. So where do we need trails? What's going on with grazing? Where do those people need to go? If there is resource extraction, where should it be? So it's really complex. It's really, land use plans are democracy at its best. You get the input from all these people, you do the work, everybody gets 85% of what they wanted, and you agree to the plan. And the plan becomes the record. That is the driving force behind what you're going to do, who's going to do what, where on that piece of public land for the next 10, 20 years. Okay. So meanwhile, Congress has this law called the Congressional Review Act. And the Congressional Review Act, I believe it was 96. It hasn't been around that long. And it's used to roll back rules. That was what it was designed to roll back, is rules. And rules are much more high-level things than plans. And rules are much fewer pages than a plan. And so this idea that, for example, the methane rule, the Biden administration put together this rule that said we need to lower emissions, and the Republican administration doesn't agree, and they want to roll back that rule. Meanwhile, though, industry is already inventing ways to lower emissions, and even if the rule gets rolled back, their time horizon is not the 4 years of an administration. Their time horizon is much longer. So no one's going to invest in a well pad today that emits massive amounts of methane. It doesn't make financial sense to say, well, we're just going to use the cheaper version, because then if the pendulum swings again, they're going to have to install that equipment.
Better emission standards.
No matter what you do with policy, you cannot force capital to go to a place it doesn't want to go, which is kind of saving us right now. So, but meanwhile, back to the CRA. So the Congressional Review Act is used to roll back rules. Well, suddenly this administration has decided it can roll back plans.
Interesting.
So the way that you fix a plan is you amend it. I've been involved in amending plans. Congress doesn't need to get involved in this, but we had some elected officials from North Dakota and Montana. They were mad about the plan that came out for their public lands, specifically with regard to expanding a coal mine. Instead of amending the plan, totally
roll it back.
They wanted the press. So they're using the Congressional Review Act to roll back a land use plan. And now Congresswoman Celeste Malloy is going to use the CRA, is attempting to use the same tool to roll back the land use plan for Grand Staircase.
Got it.
The good news is she's not trying to get rid of the monument. She's not trying to sell it, but she is trying to undermine the plan. Now, what does that mean? We just got a new 10-year permit in the Grand Staircase under the current plan. Technically, it's going to roll back to the previous plan. We had a permit in that previous plan, but it was expired. So now what's going to happen? Which for us, we'll figure it out. But let's say you were about to spend $20 million drilling a well, and you had a permit to drill that came under one of these plans. And now that plan is rolled back. Are you going to start construction?
So it hurts everybody when you don't amend plans and take what already exists and make changes instead.
Right.
Just
when you use a
back,
sledgehammer to solve a problem, which you could have done like easily,
Right.
which is the theme right now.
Work together democratically.
Yeah. And well, and
Right.
just like be practical.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on right now that we don't know exactly what the ramifications are going to be. But, the investment community is starting to notice that this could be a problem, which is going to be a problem for these major high dollar investments in resource extraction. If you're seeking investment capital and they say, wait a minute, we're not even sure your lease is valid.
Mhm.
How is that winning for anyone? It's
So I think
crazy
the
times.
story is ideally we get to a place where we work together and tweak things and adjust things that are not working for everyone instead of just swinging the pendulum completely the other way without a plan.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like everyone uses that throwing out the baby with the bathwater, and it's kind of like, what does that mean? But it means, or cutting off your nose to spite your face. It's like everyone, this idea that these rules and things are so hurtful. Next week, let's eliminate stoplights, because why should we wait? And we can all make our own decision of when to cross the street. It's like we invented stoplights for a reason. People are fine with them.
And if things need to be improved, let's make those small adjustments to better traffic.
Let's make them smart. If no one's waiting, keep it green or whatever, but don't throw away the stoplight.
Yeah, same with the EPA and all the rollbacks.
Yeah, the endangerment finding is the big one, because the same problem. You can say carbon doesn't matter, but if industry and global markets still think it matters, are you really going to change your business strategy based on a pendulum swing at the EPA?
Right.
So,
well, that's our hope, maybe.
It is our hope.
It is our hope.
Well, it's reality,
Yeah.
It's just, but it's unfortunate that the government is the extremes, and it's even happening in our county. They just eliminated the Arches reservation system,
Mm-hmm.
and they say they're going to try to get buses. It's not like we didn't think of the buses. For 10 years, we've been studying crowding in Arches, and we looked at buses. And Zion has buses. Their road is 7 miles straight up and down the canyon. Our road is 18 miles, 2 miles to windows.
Mm-hmm.
So a volunteer bus system, you can't force people to get on the bus. So then you're still going to have a lot of cars.
Right.
And there's no funding.
I know we're almost in time.
Yeah.
There's so much I could talk to you about forever. There's something I think about all the time is why I love mountain biking, but I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about when you think about mountain biking and what keeps you going? What helps you get other people out on mountain bikes?
Sure. You have to be in the moment for sure when you're mountain biking. You can't really think about anything else. And when you are doing that, it's so hard to do in our world to be really, truly present. And so that is one of the best things. And then understanding the landscape when you're riding through it is really different. When you're hiking, it's different. You don't really get that feel of how it is. You see a little more when you're hiking because you can look around more, but it's just, you get to know the place. And then you also really notice the seasons and changes. And so, for all those reasons, it's a great way to get out there. And that's what we're trying to do with these adventure trips, is make it possible to go experience these places. And the thing is, ultimately, it's about camping. And you can say, camping, I am nervous. But the reality of camping is that that's the best way to get the break. You don't get the break. And there's amazing sleeping pads and sleeping bags that are super cozy, and you're not going to be...
It's come a long way.
It's come a long way. Like putting on your down jacket in the morning for a few minutes and having coffee and watching the sunrise is pretty freaking awesome. And you just can't do that if you're not camping. We're really working to encourage more people to try camping, especially because you don't have to worry about the food, and you don't have to worry about the dishes. And we do whatever you need food-wise, custom, no problem. There are places to go to the bathroom. It's fine.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
probably the best scenic bathroom breaks.
Yeah, exactly. That you could have. The most beautiful bathroom you'll ever be in. But so we're hoping that people are willing to trust us on that, to come and go camping. If you haven't done it since you were a child, or you're just kind of, believe me, I'm a little bit of a hotel princess. When I first started going to DC, everyone's like, we're going to sleep at our friend's house on the couch. I'm like, no, we are not. We're going to stay at the conference center. You got to do it. It almost,
Never regret it in the end.
no, you never
The thing
do.
you're
No one
not
does.
looking forward to
Yeah.
ends up being the reason you end up loving it the most.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
funny.
It's okay to be a little bit worried about it,
Yeah.
but trust us, it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you for everything you do and for
Yeah.
getting people outside and enabling experiences that are stay with you forever. And we really are excited to have you as a partner. We want to help bring people to all these beautiful places. And our mission is to get people outside to really connect with these places that hopefully that encourages us all to protect them because we love them. So
totally. And
you're a big
I
part of
really
that.
appreciate your interest and working with you guys. It's really great. So thank you so much for all of your work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully next time we could do this again for another reason, and we'll do our best to accidentally match again.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Ashley.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Trip Outside podcast. If you enjoyed the conversation, let us know in the comments on Apple Podcasts. Share it with your friends and subscribe to the show wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, if you felt inspired to travel, you can support the show by booking your next trip on TripOutside.com, the easiest way to book human-powered outdoor adventures.